decided to go back to college in Arizona. You studied what was your major again?
Animal nursing. Yeah. I was getting
Animal.
undergrad for equine veterinary though, which was is for horses, obviously. But I started getting super sick and I basically get really bad brain fog and I faint and I get really bad headaches. So it pretty much became almost a liability in the clinic. And I almost dropped a dog one time actually. So we were like, okay, can't do that. And I just started to try and find work in other ways. I was an exotic dancer, but I always had a regular job too. So that was kind of my side income. And then I had my sole income. And then when I got sick, I didn't really do any of that. I pretty much was trying to reinvent myself and figure out what ways I could, make money and still have my medical issues. So I started pet sitting in like 2016 and then I started getting my own clients. And now I work for an app and I still have my clients out here.
Okay, do you mind if we get into the exotic dancing a little bit?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so at what age did you get this exotic dancer gig?
I was 21, which is kind of old. I feel like for a lot of dancers, they usually start around 18, but
Mm.
I wanted to move out west. So I was a manager at a restaurant for about 4 years, and then I danced for about a year, saved up like 10 grand, and then I decided to move out west.
Okay, what exactly is there a difference between an exotic dancer and a stripper?
No, just a
Okay,
nicer
so it's just
name.
okay. So you're like basically you're working in a strip club, basically doing exotic dancing. Um, what were the clients like? How did you feel during this time? Did you like the work?
Um, okay, so for starters, I never called it a job because I always had my regular job on the side. And I didn't count it as a regular job. I counted it as like side income. But I was really picky about where I danced. My first strip club was in Ohio, and it was so strict that like you couldn't even be Facebook friends with regulars or you get fired basically. So I came out west and I thought I wasn't going to dance anymore and then I realized, "Oh my god, it's really expensive out here." So I kept dancing. But I it's different out here than it was at my place in Ohio. I mean, there's definitely seedy clubs in Ohio. I just wasn't at one of them. But when I moved out here, I started to kind of, it's kind of a psychological, um, emotional head game, if you will. And I really, really never liked it, to be honest. I tolerated it until I couldn't, and then I actually got choked and drooled on, and it was disgusting. And then I got screamed at by the bouncer, and that was in like 2019. I'd already been pretty much done dancing at that point, but I went in to just make some extra cash, and it was traumatizing. I've actually had a couple of traumatizing incidences, but with dancing, but that was like my final straw. So pretty much started to like refuse to dance. In California, I had a lot of friends who were escorts because that's like a thing out there. So I would go hang out with escorts. Technically, like if you call it escorting, like you go and hang out with people and have like lunch and dinner, no. But there were like girls that would like, they had sugar daddies, they had, whatever. That's like a California thing. But in Arizona, like I never felt that pressure because it wasn't as expensive. So out here, I kept my head on pretty straight. Um, but it did over time kind of just eat at me and it made me really just I was just so ready for other stuff. And even when I was pet sitting, I worked for a company for about 4 years, and then I got my own clients, and then I started to kind of just grow from there. And I would say recently, well, I don't know if you know Baked Alaska, but I actually was a pet sitter for him. That's how I was like close with him.
Hmm.
So I watched his pets and cleaned his house for about a year. And then after 2021, I just started to get a bunch of clients that were like in my neighborhood and pretty much around the metro. And I've stuck with it. It's great for my medical condition. I don't have to bend up and down too much. You know, it's not quite the same as working in a clinic where it's kind of like on demand. Like if I don't feel well, I can sit down, I can take a break, but I can still finish the job. You know.